Good morning, folks. This is Naimaz. I'm live from London, and welcome to our daily update on our YouTube channel. Folks, a bit of a disclaimer as always. Anything which we'll be discussing in this video cannot be perceived as an advice. If you are seeking for one, please do consider consulting with your own financial advisors. Now, what is going on in the market? Well, investors and traders are very much focused on the upcoming event. And by that, I mean the FOMC. The Federal Reserve, which is the central bank over in the United States, will be announcing its monetary policy decision today. Now, that includes two important components. Number one is the decision on interest rate. And number two, we will be looking at what the Federal Reserve has to say about their asset purchase program. Both of these are likely to remain the same because the Federal Reserve isn't expected to change any of them for the time being. The Federal Reserve is expected to keep things as they are. So that means not much of a reaction in the market, right? But it is always about preparing yourself for the unexpected, because the view of the chairman of the Federal Reserve matters a lot. Why? Because if we look at the retail sales number, they are at 4 years high. If we look at the US consumer confidence, that is rising. If we look at the ISM manufacturing, that is at 14 years high. If we look at the new orders, that they are also soaring. So overall, we can say with a lot of confidence that the US economic growth is accelerating. So the Fed needs to acknowledge that. Now, if the Federal Reserve Chairman acknowledges that growth, we could see the dollar index getting some cushion because it has been facing enormous amount of a sell-off in this particular month, despite the fact that we have seen so much of a strong economic data. The dollar index hasn't moved enormously to the upside. In fact, we have seen a sell-off only recently. For the last few days, specifically yesterday, we have started to see some sort of a momentum coming back into the dollar index. So what we got to be looking at when that will happen, and that is going to happen at 7 p.m. BST today. So we should be looking at the currency market. We should be looking at the commodities, specifically gold. We should be looking at equities such as S&P, the Dow Jones, and of course the Nasdaq. Now, speaking of the equity market, one important thing which really emerges for me, or which is really sticking out like a sore thumb out there, is the Nasdaq's price action. Why? There are two important things to pay attention to. A lot of weakness is there. If one is looking to short this particular market because it has gone too far and too fast based on the technical analysis, then it is your Nasdaq which could be your prime candidate. Why? Because first of all, the index has formed a double top, which is your reversal pattern. And secondly, we also have a negative divergence, meaning the RSI is moving to the downside while the price is moving to the upside. So this shows that the current upward momentum is not verified by the relative strength index. So we are likely to see that momentum failing and the price moving to the downside. Now, moving away from that and going into the crypto market, I am certainly concerned today about Bitcoin. Why? Because prices are failing to break above the 55,000 price level. It seems like that the upward momentum, the optimism that we saw on the back of the JP Morgan news, that is fading. Now, of course, if you wanted to hear and learn more about those pivot levels, we have done yesterday a full technical analysis video on Bitcoin prices covering various different price action. So highly recommend you to do so, to have a look at that, or take a listen of that. And then today I've also done another technical analysis video covering specifically Ethereum. Why Ethereum? Because Ethereum made another all-time high today. It touched $2,713. So that shows that the momentum is still quite a lot more in Ethereum. in comparison to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is struggling to move to the upside, but Ethereum on the other side is very much telling us that traders are backing this move. We are likely to continue that journey towards that critical level of 3,000. Now, in terms of our oil prices, yesterday the OPEC left the prices as it is, and as a result of that, we are seeing the momentum to the upside. Prices have crossed above the 50-day simple moving average, but remember, today we are also going to get the crude inventory data, so that supply equation is very much going to be coming back in focus, so you have to keep an eye on that. All right, that's all for now, and I'll see you guys same time, same place tomorrow.